everybody. Shorter people, Mike. All right, good morning. Still morning. My name is Ryan. That's me. Yeah. Excuse me. Anyway, I went on a cruise last week. It was last week. And I brought one of Abraham's books, a real early one. So it was like serene all week long. It's just some really good. I found some different meditative things I've never tried before. This book was written in the 90s, so it was when she was on fire, I guess you could say. So I've been dealing with this subject for a while, and today's topic is, excuse me, trying to get that right, Serenity. So, for most of you guys know, I come from a recovery background. I work with a lot of recovering people, not just from substances, but from the families of, and I do more of that than the actual abuser kind of people. I stepped into that. I was doing work with with the church, and we were doing recovery stuff, and nobody wanted to do the families, so I was elected. And then next thing you know, it was 10 years later, and we were still doing. And it's pretty. I'll tell you, this is kind of off the topic tonight, but it's a pretty popular church. They were getting between 600 and 1,000 people on the weekends, and 3 services. It wasn't all at once, but anybody that came into that church that had a spouse, child, relative, anybody that was having a drug problem or something like that, they got my number. So for at least 3 years until I told them to stop, my phone rang constantly. And of course, with my own maladies, with codependency, I would be out there just going to swoop in and save everybody. So we all learned, you know. And that was some. I found that people deal with the same things over and over again, as far as, and remember, for here, what we want to do is have a totally clear path, or as clear as possible, so we can connect with Spirit. That's the idea, right? So if we're at a point where we're non-serene, or the world is messed up, or somebody in our life died, or somebody we didn't like got elected, and I can go down the list of all the things that can get in our way. Divorce, something with a significant other that's not doing right as far as anything, not just substances or whatever, but relationship maladies, abuse that we're carrying with us in my case, from all the way down when we were 7 years old. These are all things that will steal the idea of serenity, and some people maybe never get there. And that's why I tell everybody we're the lucky ones, because we have an opportunity to get there. So anyway, look, we'll give you a little, and this is the first one, right? Serenity, because a lot of people have an idea that we're going to be like maybe the Buddha or somebody, and we're just going to get this thing, and it's going to stay forever, and we will be holy, and it will be wonderful, and life is just going to go on. So anyway, it says here, serenity isn't freedom from the storm, it's experiencing peace during the storm. Okay, I like that, because it gives me a more realistic approach, right? So we do the regular thing. I think it's dictionary.com, right? Let's look and see a state of utter calm and unruffled repose or quietude. Absence of mental stress or anxiety. I want that all the time. The state of freedom from the storm disturbances The serenity in the aftermath of the hurricane was remarkable. And I do have a story about that. When um, some of these storms that we have, some of you guys know that I've had a little turmoil in my life, but with Mimi, and she passed, and this is over the summer. After Katrina, I was in a nearby town, and at the end of the storm, I was in the city, and all the lights were off because the whole Gulf Coast was off. And I was in, it was a hotel on a hill, and it was like when we were in the islands, the stars went all the way to the ground. It was eerily quiet. We sat at that hotel and watched the hurricane pass, and 20 people on the balcony, most people was drinking vodka and all of that kind of stuff. But I guess what I'm trying to say is all of a sudden, it was over. And it was an experience that I wasn't quite expecting, you know? Because it was like days and days of turmoil and getting it together. We got to do this, and it's going, oh my God, here it comes, and looking at on and on, and all of a sudden now it's over. And it just stopped. And that's the kind of, I had a flooded house and had everything else. I didn't even know it then, but I saw something that I just wasn't expecting. Calmness, composure, patience, peace, still, peace of mind, stillness, tranquility, cool, peace, placidity, quietness, quietude, there's that word again. And think about those words. When I was taking I took a class, a number of classes on getting my, I guess, the degree in life coaching, and they had a thing called empowering words. So, and they talked about how it brings people up, right? It'll bring you to a place where you can accept. So all those things, composure, patience, peace, nice, cool, everything else that goes along with it. So check this out. I want you to think about how this would affect your spirit. This is the opposite of serenity. Check these words out. Agitation, bustle, commotion, hubbub, hurly-burly, pandemonium, turmoil, unquietness, unrest, uproar, anxiety, disturbance, trouble, ruckus, rumpus, havoc, hack, mayhem, racket, disorder, ado, stir, riot, fuss, fracas, brouhaha, bother, restlessness, upheaval, hullabaloo, clatter, bedlam, uneasiness, confusion, turbulence, hoopla, disruption, ballyhoo, petulant frenzy, flurry, outcry, Donnybrook, whirling dervish, discord, melee, hassle, hustle and bustle, song and dance, loudness, worry, vexation. I don't even need to finish the list. That's the kind of stuff that'll take us and take away our serenity. And imagine if we surrounded people who are negative, people who are in this really high vibration, I don't want to call it a vibration, but a higher level of discord. And they pass it around to all of us too. And I always say this, if you want to try that, just go turn the television on. And it'll bring you there if you let it, you know. So, negative thought patterns, and this is a little bit of a negative thought and the cognitive distortions, distorted thinking, exaggerated, irrational thought patterns that can lead to negative views of the world and of oneself. Now we get into something that's a little bit different. And I've been doing a little, listening to a little bit of I don't know if y'all are into Joe Dispenza, but he talks about it. Right? He says, if you get an idea, I don't have all of his words, but he says just a little idea, and after a month, it more and more becomes part of your identity. And after a year, if you allow that kind of stuff, it is you. It is now manifested into what you are, a negative. I'll never make it. There's a few of these things. I'll never get better. I'm worthless. I'm a burden. I'm weak. No one likes me. Unresolved issues, things that live within us, some of the hurts and habits and the hang-ups that came from even when we were kids, some sort of heartbreak that we carry with us and we haven't gotten past it. We can go down the list of all the things, and they're all serenity stealers. Every one of them is going to take you to a point, and that's lifted into the mind of, even if you want certain things. And we're about manifesting peace or prosperity or healing or any of those things. We can get to a point to where, well, not really the right people for that, come from the wrong side, we don't have enough money, not good looking enough. These things, that's my old AA sponsor used to call it the old tapes, and they just play. And they just play and they play. And they will play until we turn them off. And that's what I was getting from some of the stuff I was reading from Abraham is like, we're going to replace all that. We're going to replace it with prosperous thoughts. And I don't necessarily mean dollar bill prosperity. The prosperity of living wellness and well-being. A being that is just better as far as everything coming to us. And we know the attractions, if we're on a positive mode, good things are going to come to us, and that's just a fact. So I'm going to do a couple of examples here. I always do one Eastern and a Western religion. And that's Jesus, right? He's sleeping. And the thing, this is Mark 4:37, and they're in a furious storm, all right? And he's sleeping. And his disciples said, man, what are you doing sleeping? Waves were coming over the front. They thought they were going to be like, they had zero freeboard, like we say in our business or whatever, which means water's coming in. And they come up to him and they wake him up. They say, man, and just like what I'm saying, it's like, how could you be sleeping in a situation like that? What is wrong with you? We're all ready to freak out here, And of course, he went through the thing, a little faith and all that kind of stuff. But the point is, he does something, and I'm going to equate this to a Christ consciousness, and the waves calm. And of course, the story is that they're amazed, and that the seas and the weather listen to this man. But I'm going to suggest, from a metaphysical point of view, okay, that we can do this anytime with a Christ consciousness. Stop the seas. Stop them. Stop the negative mindset. Peace. And in other words, I think we have, I'm saying I think, we have the power to be able to do that. To just stop it. Connect with Spirit. And remember, that Spirit wants us to be in I guess you could say, a non-turmoil type of existence. We're supposed to be. Things are supposed to be good. They're supposed to be fun. They're supposed to be successful. Not turbulent. When things happen, I get it. Remember, our first thing is to be able to be serene in the storm, okay? But the reality is that, and I'll be the first one to tell you that my last year, I did hospice every day for 4 months. It was hard, I wanted to quit. I really did. And it was like I couldn't. My girl, I'm not going to do, And anyway, the point I'm trying to make it is that I had the ideas from what I'm teaching right here, in the heart. And I knew that it was always going to be like a step up or surrender. I don't look at, like the old days, I don't look at death as like some terrible thing or whatever. This is everything that's born dies. Everything. And I don't have to hang on to some sort of negativity forever because the regular factions of life happen, because they did. And just like, all of us, there's nothing. The oak tree, the squirrels, us, the newest relationships and the oldest one, they're all going to pass at some point. And I think we can find a way to be more in tune with seeing things as Spirit sees things, not the way my fear and my mind thinks it ought to be. So, all right, so Tao Te Ching, okay? We do a little bit of Western stuff. We did a little, Eastern. So, this is verse 26, okay, tranquility and seductions. This part of it it's one that you'll probably want to immerse yourself in repeatedly. After all, what could be better than the freedom of going through life without feeling that people and circumstances control you without your permission. One of the things we used to teach in the relationship between the codependent and the narcissist, whichever way the flag is flying, that's the way you have to be, or you can't participate. And it's too scary for a lot of people to get away from that sort of thing. So, just like you said, whichever way the wind is blowing, whether it's dysfunctional or not, you're going that way. And that takes some serious doing if you have the sickness that a lot of people have. Whatever your current state, if you believe that changing the economic picture of you or a tapestry of events taking place around you, you are responsible, and you then use the external factors to explain your inner state of mind. You've lost touch with your root. And what they're doing, I guess they're talking about like the root chakra. In other words, it's leading, but we're not paying attention. We're doing the wave with the flag, whichever way it's blowing, and if it's not blowing the right way, we're just there and we experience it and we don't have any real power over it, and that's not true. You're still, this is still the master of unrest. You have the choice in every moment, so you can decide to be a host to God and carry around with you all the calmness that the Tao, or you will be the hostage of your ego. And I like the way they say that, because a lot of this is an ego state. Okay, it's not quite spiritual, which insists that you can't really help feeling disorderly when you are in circumstances that resemble pandemonium. So, anyway, what they're trying to say is they're leading us in the same direction, okay? That when things are happening within us, especially when it comes to matters of the heart, we can do some things to change that. And we can plug in, or read a book, or do some meditation, or any of the other factions that we've learned around here that we have at our disposal. We can do anything let's just say that we have at least a half dozen things right here, right around here, that we can do to disperse any sort of negativity. And remember, the negativity is the lowest vibration that there is. So if we're in that state, we're going to be attracting things that are also low vibration, which are not going to have much power to the good. So anyway, over there, key strategies, and I'm not going to read the whole thing. This is some stuff that I deal with on Thursday nights when we do it. But set healthy boundaries, okay? Clearly defined behaviors. Most people don't think they can do that, all right? Practice self-care, that's easy, all right? Limit exposure to toxic dynamics. Don't you love that? Don't that sound toxic dynamics? I brought you to my house a few years ago, and you would see what toxic dynamics is. But it's an engagement in its behaviors that are non-conformist, they're controlling, and they're really about like a tit for tat of relationship theories and all that kind of. It's a competitive thing within relationships. That's really what we're getting at. So if you got good healthy boundaries, you can stop that from happening too. Build a supportive network. Here we are, right here. You know, focus on your own growth, and remember and I said it a little while ago. In the early recovery days, I really was cape flapping behind me. I was going to save everybody. One thing I learned is not everybody wants to be saved. As a matter of fact, most people don't want to, right? But in other words, I was not doing self-care. I was projecting outwardly. And it was, in other words, what it really was doing was keeping me away from what was really going on. I was starting to grow. And they had some things inside of there that I needed to purge myself of. But if I'm out there trying to save the world, I don't see that. It was a defense mechanism, and it didn't jive. So it took me a long time to realize, but the truth is that was my road in. I had to take that road. Focus on your own growth. Develop healthy coping mechanisms, okay? And then communicate effectively. And then the last one here, Accept what you cannot change. Recognize that you cannot control other people's actions and focus on managing your own actions and responses. Most people would never allow that to even in because they're so entrenched in the roles that they play in their relationships. Like that would be in one ear and out the other, you know. And listen, I made her with AI. See that?
Really?
Ain't she pretty? Yeah. And it's like, I typed in serenity and happiness and a few other words, and there she came, you know. So, okay, here we go. Serenity prayer. Y'all know it, right? God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Okay? First of all, just for your history lesson, it's attributed to a man named Ryan Uhlich. He didn't write it, but I guess they put somebody's name on it. But there's versions of this prayer that they found go all the way back to the 3rd century. It's been attributed to Saint. Which one? Which one has the? I'll think of it just a second. But a few of the Catholic saints or whatever have had versions of it, and a few Western and Eastern religions have touched on different ones. There's a Christian version of it. Oh, they call it the long version, which adds a whole lot to it. But this is the basis of it. And the thing about it is, and this is something that I learned through recovery circles, and that is, it's a lot deeper than most people give it credit for. Just that whole thing, the wisdom to know the difference. Wait a minute, that rules me out sometimes, you know. And then the acceptance from a more of an immature point of view where I started. That means, oh, poo, I'm not going to get what I want. So it's like that's already two things I don't like about it. See what I'm saying? It's like, wait a minute, you know, because I'm not going to get what I want, and then I'm going to have no. I don't want anything to do with this. And this is something that they taught me in early recovery when I was like in the 80s. So man, if you're having troubles, say the Serenity prayer. It's like, that's the stupidest thing I ever heard. What do you mean, say a prayer? It's really going to help me? I was, I'm having real problems here, you know. And it's because of my upbringing that there were lots of prayers that didn't do anything. So I just thought that this was just one more, you know. And I didn't realize really the power that this has, you know. Serenity, acceptance, courage, wisdom, you know. And over time, and I want to say that this topic of this, just the prayer itself, I've probably done 20 different teachings over a 20-year period of what it entails, what came about, the things that it can help us with, the things that it can help them with, and most of that is probably letting go, you know, letting them be. Like I said in there, something that we learned also was that let the whirling dervishes whirl. I don't have to be part of that, but I don't have to. Somebody said it last week. It was the piano player on the ship. And she said that thing, and y'all are going to know this one. Not my circus, not my monkey. Wait, I also thought that was pretty stupid too. You know what? What are you talking about? Not my circus, not my monkeys. It's the same thing of saying it's not part of what I would like to engage in. See the difference, right? And this is something that we can get to, and that is that I can engage with it all by myself. I don't need you. I can stay home and sit in my bedroom and just look at the speckles on the ceiling and think about who said what and why, and why they're against me. And all of that is not really true, and it's my mind, the negative part of my mind coming alive from time to time. It's not real. And I have to, since I know what happens up here in this mind, I can stop. These days I can even find a little humor in it. There you go again, you know, and I don't have to participate at all. Or I can feed something positive into that. And that's the whole idea, that we feed something positive into that to replace the negative. And just like I call it, was the little storage box that people rent and put on their front yard.
The pause.
First thing you get, right, it's there's stuff in there that's junk, it's bad, it's rotten, all that kind of stuff. Well, if you leave it, if you just start taking it out, you have to replace it with something, some positive things, some habits that are going to help you through. And so it's just like what we're saying, that you have to. I'm gonna go back to something that I've been dealing with a couple of people that I'm working with. You have to participate in your recovery. And that's what, oh no, we're just gonna sit here and let it flow in. No, we gotta do something. At least begin to change the mindset, you know. And this one, I just kind of like this one. It is the meditative pose, and I didn't make this, somebody else did. A meditative pose in the midst of a tornado. Just like you know, the Jesus thing. Everybody's freaking out. He's not. And as a matter of fact, he has some wisdom to lay on others to say, look, you don't have to be evil. You don't have to be participating in all this mayhem. And the seas, we look at it from a metaphysical, on our point of view, the seas stop. And we are like what I was describing, the pitch black sky and the stars all the way to and Katrina is over. And it's long gone somewhere. It left the path, but now we're at a different, and I think it's a gift of sorts, because I think all of that is a cleansing anyway, when you really look at it. We look at it as terrible because I had to put new sheetrock in my house, and I had this, and then fighting with FEMA for 7 months, and whoa. The truth is, though, out of all of it, everything in my life got better over time. But it did. I moved into a newer house, a nicer house. I got into a situation with better business and better relationships and all that kind of stuff. There was a test about it, but in the end, there was the growth. And then what I truly believe are the gifts from source. You see what I'm getting at? That is, in other words, it was just a test or something that's happening, or something to clear away the wreckage or something like that. And when it does, we're allowed to go to a better place, a higher place. And then if that's the case, then over time, it really is maybe one of the better things that have happened. Every time there's a setback, there's always a thrust forward afterwards. And it's always the way. Even when they say that death always leads on to life, you know? And it doesn't have to be a human or a physical death. It could just be a death of an ideology that we carry along with us, you know? Serenity is really the goal where I would like to live most of my life, all the time. The problem is that spirituality is always fleeting. I don't like that. When I get up there, we're going to talk about that. You know? But I guess what I'm really getting at it is available, and I have learned that it is where I'm supposed to be. And if there's setbacks, and if there's things like that first picture, right here, storms happen, but I don't have to live in the turmoil of it. More importantly, I don't have to continue to live in that and let my mind continually recreate what's happening weekly or monthly. I don't have to have the script of how I'm going to talk with someone who I'm having adversarial situations with. And I don't have to practice and think about it and run through it over and over. Stop. Let's experience the serenity. So, well, there you go. That's it. Serenity is today's topic. Take that with you for the rest of the week. And that's all I have. Thank you.